One Paul here. If you guys saw yesterday's video where I talked about TradeSnyper, it was a new paid indicator. Well, you have to pay monthly or annually, and you can get it very cheap. But I try to find a lot of these indicators that no one talks about, and it turns out every time I try to find these kind of indicators, those indicators that a lot of people aren't talking about are really good indicators to be looking at. It was like that with Ghost Market Pro. Nobody's talking about it, but I found a lot of their indicators to be really useful, and it's the same for this one here, which is TradeSnyper. It's a pretty simple indicator. I'm going to show you guys how to set it up, and then today we're going to be looking at Forex and gold and seeing how this will benefit with using this with Forex. Okay, so to get this indicator, I'll put a link below. You have to go to Patreon, and you get you pay for it, and then you have to give the creator your TradeView ID, and then it'll show up in your invite only scripts once you're activated. So as long as you keep paying the monthly or the annually, you'll have access to this indicator. So I want to kind of look at this through, we're going to look at gold first. We're going to be looking at gold, and then we'll move to some Forex. But the way I have this set up is I have the TradeSnyper paid indicator and a 1348. So when you first get this indicator loaded, it's going to have all these on here, and it's going to look kind of jumbled. It's basically just the MACD. So what you want to remove is the MACD and the signal, and you'll be left with this. Now, if you saw yesterday's video, I talked about how using the line. I changed it up. I changed the settings a bit. Instead of having it be a line, I changed it to be columns, which makes it a little bit more easier to read. So when you're doing, the strategy is very simple. Let me show you this first online, because that's what I was showing yesterday. When it turns blue, it's basically a cool down zone, and I basically do not trade during the cool down zone because it's cooling down. Usually sideways and things like that happen when it's blue. You want to look for when it goes into bright red or bright green. So you can use the line. It's what I showed you in yesterday's video, but I'm going to change this up and change it to columns, because I think this looks better. It's more visual. So it's the same thing. Whenever you see blue, you don't get involved in the trade because it's cooling down, going sideways usually. What you want to focus on is, when you see it with columns, and when you see it go from up to down, that's basically a trend of it going from up to down. So it's easy to see what the movement is going to be. So you want to focus on this moment right here when it turns and either goes red or green. You want to pay attention. If you're doing this with the columns, you want to pay attention how big the column lines are. The bigger the column lines are, the bigger the move is. The smaller is, the less volume it has. So you definitely want to do it when there's a big column line, and you want to focus on it being a bright red or a bright green. So what we can see from gold right now, right here, we see it go from, so this is the start of a down. If we look at the columns here, and I'm looking at the columns right here, we see that it starts going down right here. So it starts a downtrend, and what you want to look for is bright red. So if you got in right here with gold, right about here, and you wrote it out, and these are hour candles. If you wrote it out here to here, but basically you want to do it when you want to stop your trade when it stops being red, basically. When you start to see red turn into green. Now, if you're doing this with a bullish trend, you want to look for a bright green, and if it starts turning red, that's when you get out. But you see that happen right here. From that moment, this was about a 20,000 pip move here with gold. Let's see if we can find any more. Now, you use the 1348 to identify the trend. You always want to go with the trend. A lot of this seems very sideways to me, so I personally wouldn't got in any of these trades. You want to look for big moves. So we see it go from up to down right here. You see it turn red right here. So this would be a good indication to get in. Right about here. You ride this out and then it stops being red right about here. So this would be a good time to get out. So this is a 17,000 pip move. So we could keep on going. We want to find those big moments. Here's one right here where it goes, you see it start going bright greens and it starts going up. So you could get in probably at this point right here, right about here, and you ride it out. And basically it starts cooling off. You see it because it starts getting to the blue bars here. But you could rode it out from here. You could rode it out from here or here. Because you see the blue bars, it's trying to cool down. But let's do a couple more, then we'll go to some Forex pairs. You see it happen right here. It goes from a very small uptrend to down, and we see it go red right here. So we come in right here and we ride it out. Now you can ride it out till you see blue, or you can ride it out till you see green, but basically you can ride it out as long as you want. As long as it stays in the down, you know you're still in profit. You want to make sure that it's still, the columns are still big and they're still going in that direction. This is a big run right here, 27,000 pips. Let's do one more with gold. So you see it turn up here and you see it turn bright green. Moment to get in, and then you just ride it out. You can get out anytime you want. It's still in an uptrend, but you basically just want to get out when it starts cooling down, when you start seeing more of the blue. So this is a 27,000 pip move. Let's go to a couple more. Let's go to some Forex pairs. Let's go to the Japan yen and see how easy this is to actually find moves. Now, what we see right here, we see, if we zoom in a little bit closer, now this is an uptrend, so this would count as going against the trend, but I'll just show you anyway. You see it go from, it cooled down and now it starts to go down. This is start of a downtrend, so this wouldn't be too much profit, but you might make a little bit. This is this is going against the trend right here. This is only like 3 candles. You probably wouldn't have made that much. So you always want to go with the trend with this strategy, because it's saying that you know, right here it's saying that, you know, go down, but it's still kind of going up. So you want to go with the trend, so you make sure you figure out what that is. So we see it right here, it goes from down to up. We see it go green. It's not really big yet, but you could ride it out from here and ride it all the way up to here. This is a 2,000 pip move. So first we need to identify what the trend is. I use the 1348. It will help you decide, figure out what the overall trend is. Whatever the trend is currently doing is the direction you need to be focusing on. So you see right here, 1348 cross down, the trend is down. We see it happen right here with the TradeSnyper, and you could come in for maybe 2 or 3 hours here. Starts right here. You can ride this out. It's another 1,000 pip move. So that is Japan. Let's look at one more Forex pair. I think you get the general idea. Let's do the British pound. and let's see if we can find it. So the overall trend is down right here. So that's what we got to focus on. So the trend is down, and you see it come down right about here. So this would be a good time to get in right about here. And you just write that down. It stops right about here. So you can get out right at this point right here. This is another 1,000 pip move right here. So you can easily find like 1,000 pip moves doing the strategy. I haven't tested it yet, but you could probably pass a prop firm challenge with doing this strategy. You have to find the right moment. But let's look at right here. We see what's the trend. The 1348 just crossed. The trend is up. You see that here with the columns. You see it bright green. So you could come in right about here, ride it out till it stops being green, which is right here. And this is a 828 pip move. So anyway, I think you guys get the general idea with this strategy. It works the best, in my opinion, at least visually, doing it with columns versus doing it by the default setting, which is the line, which is what I discussed yesterday. It's just more visual by doing it with columns. So that's all up to you guys and personal preference. But this is how to use this strategy. This is how to use TradeSnyper with Forex and gold. So I find using the TradeSnyper indicator really powerful, depending on what you're using it for. So if you guys want to get this indicator, it's on Patreon. I'll put the link below. I'm not affiliated. I don't get a commission off of this. I try to find indicators out there that nobody's using or talking about, and you know it works really well. It worked for me with Ghost Market Pro and this one. So I try to find indicators out there that nobody are talking about that work pretty good. So anyway, if you guys want this indicator, you got to go to Patreon, and once you buy it, you got to give the guy your TradingView ID. And then he will unlock it for you. As long as you keep paying, it will be access to you on TradingView. And you can use the option of you doing line, or you can do columns, which I prefer. Columns seems to be more visual for me. So anyway, that's how you do it with TradeSnyper, with doing it with gold or Forex pairs. So anyway, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in future videos.